Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier podcast, episode 5. I'm your host, 30 Still Gaming, and joining me, my co-hosts each and every single week, Wolverine. What's going on, brother? Not much, man. So if you guys don't know what this show is about, we go over the podcast. Don't worry, audio is working for Wolvie. He's not muted. What's it called? So what we do is we go over the podcast, we speculate, we go theorize stuff, and then we have major spoilers. So if you haven't watched any one of these single episodes, I don't know why you're here. I mean, if you just came across here and you're like, oh, I like Falcon and Winter Soldier, what is it, a new show? Go watch the first 5 episodes. We cover it week after week. We do a chat discussion also during this show on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you do not listen to this. But if you have listened to it, welcome. Come on in. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. Another good episode, but I have to say it wasn't my favorite episode, but there was some really cool stuff in this episode. So let's get to it. All right, so I'm gonna bounce. Basically, I'm not gonna go. I know I said this every week, but I'm really not gonna go in order. I'm gonna pick different pieces of what we have instead of going in order. I am going to start off with that new the fight scene at the beginning, which I thought was very cool, right? So we do start off with John Walker in this like warehouse after I guess he ran away or got away from that public square, and we see him fighting with himself and hearing Lamar's voice in his head. He's like, you told me to not go in, you told me to do this. Like he's battling because he just lost his best friend, right? His not only his best friend but his military buddy. Right? So there's this epic fight scene that goes on between Falcon, Winter Soldier or Bucky, and John Walker, the new Captain America. And this fight was awesome. I thought this fight was awesome, completely awesome. I love John Walker's stance here, right? Like he's standing up. He's like, you don't want to do this, right? Like he's like ready to go down, and you can see Bucky's ready to go at him, like right. But Sam's like, 2 super soldier serums, and I'm just the guy. I'm just a regular guy. All right, I'm ready to go on. You can see it just hesitate just a little bit. What did you think of this fight scene, Wolvie? What did you think of this?
Well, John taking on Sam and Bucky simultaneously, it felt like the inversion of Captain America Civil War, where we see Cap and Bucky take on Iron Man. And it was great. Just as you pointed out in the beginning, it was an awesome fight scene. The beginning where Walker saying, you don't want to do this, and then Bucky saying, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
it was just like, yeah, like I was trying to understand the context of how he was saying that in the trailer, because it almost seemed to me as if they were going to do something together at first, like almost team up. But coming to it and realizing it was just them retrieving the shield from the very beginning, it was setting the tone for the episode. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was like, I don't know how they're getting the shield back. I knew they were gonna. I was like, strip it from him. I said, I think in episode 2 or 3, and then last week I was like, I don't know if the government's gonna strip him of it and then they're gonna hand it to Sam.
Yeah.
So I should have went with my first instinct and just said that they were literally ripped it from his arm. Like they broke his shoulder or broke his arm, which I thought was pretty gruesome. Like the way they grabbed it and he put the boosters up on his jetpack and just kept pulling and pulling.
Just to push forward.
Yeah.
The end of it with Sam's reluctance picking up the bloodstained shield, it was a very powerful image, and it was like I said, I feel like that whole episode, or excuse me, that whole opening scene, and then them cueing to the title just as Sam's grabbing the shield and emulating with what happened to it with the blood stain on it. It was really powerful.
Yeah. When he wipes the blood off, you can see him like like everything that was going through his mind at the moment, like I could have stopped all this from happening if I just kept the shield in the beginning, right? Instead of getting rid of the shield. And then when he's wiping the blood off of the actual, you can see that, man, this is not what Cap wanted. This is not what I wanted. This is not what anybody wanted. You know, it's like this. And I have to say, I thought him snapping at this point, John Walker's character, this is my favorite episode with him, actually, because this is who he is, right? Like, this is this character where when he was Captain America, like I said, I hated that he was Captain America. I didn't like him as Captain America, but I like him, what he's doing right now. The way he acts in this episode and the way he goes, I mean, super dark. And I just thought it was a good...
to see all of his convictions, and I think a lot of what you're referring to in terms of his backstory and his make comes from that military tribunal where he's shouting at them saying, "You made me.
Right.
I'm doing what you guys have asked from me." So in turn, it doesn't feel like he's doing anything else other than what he's already been told to do.
Yeah.
And what he's been awarded for doing in his past.
There's this one scene in the fight scene where Bucky picks him up and uses Walker as a baseball bat and slams him into the shield. I was like, oh my God. I was like,
yeah. That's where you got to see his first action utilizing the shield, and it was awesome.
Yeah. He flew at him with the shield and stuff. I just thought this scene was very, very cool. At the very end, Bucky picks up the shield and walks towards him, and then just kind of like throws it down next to Sam. And at that moment, even though he doesn't say a word, okay, he doesn't say a word to Sam. He just picks up the shield, walks over to him, and then tosses it on the ground next to him and just gives him that stare down that he, right? And in that one scene of no dialogue whatsoever, you could see Bucky going, like, for God's sakes, I'm going to give you the shield this time. Make sure you hold on to it, right? Like, this is, I'm giving it to you for the second time here. And you could just see Sam not say anything, just look up at him and is like, I think I broke something, basically, the way his face is. And he's very disappointed in this whole scenario. Like, none of this should have happened. I thought it was a very cool scene, though. And then Bucky walks off. And then we have this scene of Walker in the courtroom. And in this scene, Walker is being spoken down to. He's being basically, doesn't matter what he did for this country, doesn't matter what he did. They're like, we made you. And he says, you made me. I did everything I was asked, right? I did everything that I asked, and you guys won't let me speak. Like, he gets really really aggravated and angry, and they all don't even care. They're just like, yeah, whatever. And as they're talking to him, which is like the rudest thing to do, he just keeps walking, right? He turns around and just walks out the courtroom. And I thought this was a pretty dramatic scene as well, because just the way, I'm sure a lot of military people in our audience could maybe have some stories like this, where what you did for your country, and then maybe, once they're done with you, they're done with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Basically, everything that he amounted to at this point was his only saving grace of why he wasn't punished more. And like, I couldn't imagine sacrificing your entire, life, well-being, family, everything that comes with, modern living, and to do that in service for your country or whatever. It might else be in this certain circumstance, and then to be told that what you have been doing this entire time. Yeah, I'm not like trying to make a case to defend John Walker, but we're making the relatable moment when someone is having to go through something, and they are being removed from that position and being told you're done, and you get nothing for what you've done because of this last transgression. Now, I think last week I forget if it was Chad or they said that maybe he could get away with it because of the government, and I said no, I think they're going to strip him of it, in which they did. They said, get us the shield, right? Well, he doesn't know where the shield is. He knows that Sam or Bucky has it because he was knocked out when they got him. And then there's this scene outside the courtroom with Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the actress. She comes in and as Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fonte, right?
Contessa Valentine Allegra de Fontaine.
Yeah. So, which is also known as Madame Hydra, right? Also known in the comics. And I had to look this up because I was like, I don't know who this is. So obviously I did a Google search after the show, and I was like, and it goes back to what I said a couple of episodes ago. I go, I didn't think Hydra was coming in this, but this could mean that Hydra is big, a big player in the game now, moving forward because of her. What do you think? Do you think yes? Do you think no?
Or do you think it's just necessarily think it's Hydra. I think it's an incel of where Hydra originated from. But I think they're going with, and we're probably jumping very far ahead because there's a bunch of different elements that come into Julia Louis-Dreyfus's appearance, because she is slated to appear in Black Widow as well. And I feel like that also reinforces the fact that story and this story is going to be somewhat intertwined in terms of what we might end up seeing in the culmination of tomorrow. That's me speculating, of course, but I definitely think we're seeing some form of Thunderbolts and or Dark Avengers being formed right in our very eyes, right. with her ominous recruitment of John Walker, and her appearance in Black Widow, I think, is going to correlate that Taskmaster could be also a part of this, right. or she's formulating something that could involve Ross. And where's Ross at? Ross, last time we saw him, he was, in control of the raft. And who's on their way to the raft?
Zemo, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So
I think there's a lot of possibilities that some other form of covert team that could be some sort of anti-hero type group, not necessarily fully bad, but not necessarily good by any means, could be forming right in front of our very eyes.
Yeah, I think when she stops by and hands the blank card to his wife, and she's recruiting the very first member of Thunderbolts, right? Like she's taken John Walker as it. I like the line she did say to him. She's like, you did the right thing by taking the serum. She says, it's made you very, very valuable to certain people. Who do you think those certain people are? Who do you think she's talking about? Do you think she's talking about Ross as Thunderbolts? Or do you think she's talking about another party that we don't know of? Like, what do you think?
It's hard to speculate, that deep into it without, coming off as, tinfoil hat or anything of that nature. But what has already been amounted by this character, I don't know. We don't know if she's already been in contact with Ross. It's just, this is the first and or the second person that she's already spoken to in terms of formulating enhanced individuals. I think when we see Black Widow and we see where she falls into this, I think it's going to be a bigger scheme. We remember that Black Widow was supposed to come out well before this, and I think her connection would be even more reinforced in terms of what we're speculating right now if we saw that. Because if we saw that in first, we'd be like, okay, what was she doing in the first movie? Now we see that she's putting people together. Well, now we're seeing she's putting people together first. We don't see why she's putting people together.
Right.
So I think we're going to get the why in Black Widow.
What did you think about Julia Louis-Dreyfus's acting? I thought it was a little weak for the scene that she was in, and I mean, she's a great actress. I mean, I loved her in Veep. I loved her in Seinfeld. I loved her in lots of different things that she's been in.
Sure.
I thought her character, again, I didn't know who she was at the time when the show was going on until after. I was like, who is that? And then when she said her name, I was like, okay, and Google it, and I was like, okay. I didn't really, and I don't know anything about Madam Hydra, right? I just just the acting that she did in that scene. I thought it was a little, I don't know. I don't think it was her best. I thought it was a little iffy. I for so much so I was like, is she even a main character, or is she just a flyby character that's coming in? You know what I mean? And then once she said her name, I looked it up and I was like, oh no, she's a returning character. She'll be in the future, right? Like she'll be coming back. I don't know. I just feel like this wasn't, and I don't know if it's because maybe, I know she's an actress, but maybe she's not a comic book person. She didn't know how to play the character. And again, I don't know the character personally myself, but she just, to me, in that scene, just didn't fit into this universe at that moment. It felt a little cheesy of the way she was acting personally. I don't know if you picked up anything or you had no issues.
I guess I necessarily don't have an issue, but I have an observation, and as a personal entertainment viewer, that how I approach Julia Louis-Dreyfus's acting, it's very congruent. She's pretty much the same. I don't want to say the same person, but her tone, the way that she comes off, her mannerisms, the dry humor, it's been evident ever since things like Seinfeld. I remember when my mother watched it, I didn't really get into it. As I progressed in aged and got a little bit more aware towards adult sitcoms, but after looking back on it and then seeing things like Veep and then other things that she's been involved with, I feel like there's a consistency in her acting, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
It's just something I point out to myself, and I'm like, all right, that sounds like something she would say. Like the way that she, I don't want to say fumbled her introduction, but just said her entire name, be like, yeah, you can call me that, but don't call me that, but call me this. Like it seems like a line out of Seinfeld.
Right. Yeah, it just seems.
I don't necessarily feel feel that it's off. It's just my observation that I feel like, okay, she's herself in this sort of representation. Do I think she can play that character where she's a smart business intellect, but has some sort of maniacal viewpoint? I think I could think she can very much do that role. It's just, I hope they have a better way of balancing the comedy, because if she's supposed to be this overarching evil / you don't want to mess with this chick character, I think the jokes have to come few and far between.
Right, and that's what it is, right? Because when you see her on screen, you're like, you think comedy, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, she's been in other things that's not comedy, but you think comedy, and when she does just try to make a little bit of jokes, I just didn't think they landed with me personally. I do like how she also says during this talk, she reveals and says the shield isn't U.S. government property, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, it was forged by Howard Stark, which was Tony's dad, with the vibranium. Now, the vibranium is from Wakanda, right? So, do you think someone owns it? Do you think it belongs to the African country of Wakanda, or do you think it belongs to somebody else? Like, what does she mean by when she says it's not U.S. government property? So, you know what I mean? Like,
well, here's I think where she's trying to like tap into the gray area. It's the fact that this is presumed, of course, that it has to do with something with Steve's disappearance, his resurrection, the government cutting ties to S.H.I.E.L.D., which was Hydra. I think all that jumbled together is again another dry humor joke to the obvious that S.H.I.E.L.D., yes, it did belong to the government, but not technically, because that the government that made it, that subset of the government, is not part. They've cut ties with that completely. So that's, right. I think she's touching on all those little areas. And yet at the same time, that part of the government that made it was an incel for Hydra. So it's just like, it's those little pieces that she's referring to.
Okay. Going back to the scene before the actual courtroom scene, Sam's in where Mama Danya, in the episode before, was her funeral was, right? They're in this building, and Joaquin Torres comes in and talks to Sam and, asks some questions and stuff. And he picks up the bag where his wings got snapped off by John Walker in that fight scene, which was pretty cool as well. It was another cool scene during that fight scene where he just breaks off the Falcon's wings. Sam has him in a bag, and you see the way Taurus was taking pictures of his gear in the very first episode, and how he was like intrigued what Sam was doing. And now you see him pick up this bag and put it up on the table, and the way Taurus like touches the bag, like what we talked about in the past episodes, were like maybe he'll become Falcon, maybe, because in the comics Taurus does becomes Falcon. And the way he touches it, and then as Sam walks away, he says, tells Taurus, you can keep the broken wings, right? Now obviously we see later on in the episode that he does get something new, which we'll talk about, but the way Taurus opens up, he's like, wow, what happened to your wings, man? Like, how did this happen? And Sam doesn't even care. Sam doesn't even care what he's asking. He's just kind of blows it off. And as he leaves the scene, he says, you keep the wings, and Taurus doesn't say anything. And that's it. It cuts away. So what do you think of this situation here?
I think it's just inevitable that he's going to fix him up, and he's just going to become it. I think it's truly inevitable. They set this tone from the very beginning. He's intrigued. He's interested. He has wanted to become familiar with the tech in every way possible. How he was with Red Wing,
right?
And here he has, something that he probably put on a pedestal, like that flight suit. Being in the military in that way. That's probably something that he felt that made him meaning Falcon, capable of fighting with the Avengers and enemies that are against the Avengers. So I think he emulates that a lot, Torres, and we were kind of force-fed that from the very beginning, not in a bad way. I think that was just something that they wanted to make known from the beginning, that here we have an individual who's wanting to take up of the mantle, and they're not going to waste any time to fulfill those shoes.
Right. I feel okay. Actually, the next question I have is, do you think we see Taurus next episode in this gear that he fixes, or do we not see him until, I don't know, the Young Avengers or whatnot? I mean, I don't know. I'm just because the way they ended it, and the way he's like scratching his head, like he seems like he's a pretty good tech guy, right? It seems like he could fix it pretty good. Do you think he comes in and like literally swoops in the next episode just for a quick cameo, or do you think, nah, we're not going to touch that?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Giving him the wings in the way that they did, where he said keep it, and then like they did this slow motion look and then walk off. It's like, it almost was like welcoming, like, I'll be back, but I'll be back to like save you at a pivotal moment. And he probably will. We could see it next episode. We're at a dire moment where we need something to happen, or someone to just get that little bit of help, and he comes swooping in with his wings all fixed up. I wouldn't be surprised about it.
Yeah, go ahead. You were gonna say something?
I was going to add on that if it doesn't happen this episode, maybe if they do it a second season, or maybe in the future when they have something like Armor Wars or something along
I can see that
the path.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen this, I see them sticking to that. This character is going to be something of the future.
It's just weird, like. Just thinking of Taurus, we could literally have yet another character for the Young Avengers, right? Then we have John Walker. We could either have the Thunderbolts, right, because Zemo, and then we can also have the Dark Avengers. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different branches off that just this one show is technically teasing.
I think we're gonna get some like mutation, whatever they decide to do with this like evil anti-hero Suicide Squad, whatever we want to call it, get together type group. I think it's going to be a mixture of things. I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as the Thunderbolts, as cut and dry as the Dark Avengers. I think it will be a mixture of some sort of anti-hero group being formulated together because whoever it is, the powers that be, don't feel it's wise to only trust Avenger type individuals.
Right.
We need to make a collective of our own.
Human type person. When here's the thing. Young Avengers, the comic book. Obviously, I started reading it, and obviously, it's young people, right? It's like teenagers, young. But I think what Marvel is doing, I think they're going to use that young, meaning in experience, not of age. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think when they say the Young Avengers, when they bring the Young Avengers in, I think it's not just going to be the age of like they're going to be kids or teenagers. I think they are going to be young-ish. I think they're going to be in their early 20s, maybe mid-teens to the early 20s. But at the same time, I think it's going to be Young Avengers is going to be representing more of their new. Like, so technically you could swap young for new Avengers type of thing.
That's what I was going to just say. I was saying in my mind that it's probably going to be something like the new Avengers with a high, just as I was saying about the evil, it would be some sort of hybrid version of storytelling between new Avengers and young Avengers, where you have younger new talent that would represent the younger Avenger aspect, and then the new Avenger aspect with people like humans, referring to someone who's a bit older and not like as young as if we see the return of Wanda's children, for instance.
Yeah, I like I said, I think when this is one of those things that when you read the comics and then you move it over to the MCU, it's loosely based on what you see. It's not going to be like the verbatim of what it is moving forward. I don't know. That's just the way I feel that they're going to go with it. Because if you look at like Wanda's kids and then you look at Kate Bishop and you look at Miss Marvel, like there's young kids and then there's older kids and then there's like young adults, right? And I think all together they're all new, either getting powers or new into whatever they're doing. So I think that's what it is. Right. This guy's a grown man. Well, no. Elijah is the son, right? So that would he was in his like early, I would say late teens. The kid that was playing basketball outside and answered the door, I would say he's like in the represent like 18, maybe 18, 19. I don't know if that's how it actually is. And then Katie, the one who's playing Kate Bishop, she's supposed to be like 18 or so, but obviously she's like 25 in real life, 25, 26. So it always comes, it's always weird with stuff like that. All right, so the next scene is we catch up with Zemo, right? Bucky finds Zemo in his homeland of Sokovia at the not the burial place, but the memorial. Memorial. Thank you. Yeah, memorial. And he shows up, and I thought this scene was a little weird as well. Like Zemo obviously thinks that Winter Soldier's there, and he's there to kill him. And he goes through basically with it. He holds the gun up to his head, and then pulls the trigger. But then, in a slow motion scene, he shows the bullets and he drops the bullets. And I was just like, you pulling the trigger kind of says the same thing that you're doing. So from a filming standpoint, I was like, one didn't need the other. You know what I mean? Like it would have made more sense if, I don't know, they wrestled each other. Zemo gets the gun and then pulls the trigger at Bucky, and then Bucky shows him the bullets, right? Type of thing. That would have come across. But in this sense, he holds the gun up to his Zemo's head. He pulls it real close. He's like, okay, this is over. I'm going to get killed. And he pulls the trigger and there's nothing. And then it's like a slow motion scene of him dropping the bullets. I thought it was poorly filmed for this scene, because I was just like, you didn't need to do both. You didn't need to do both. One says the other.
I didn't mind it. I think it just reinforced the fact that Bucky has become much more than the Winter Soldier, and that Zemo had no interest in killing Bucky anymore, for being the fact that he is a super soldier, for everything that he's seen him do and be a part of to the show. And to say people were disappointed with his exit of the show, but I definitely do not think we're done with Daniel Bruhl's Zemo in the slightest.
I think that was the perfect way of him departing, right? Like you bring in the Wakandans to take him out, and they literally say, I mean, you just said it, they're taking him to the raft. Well, who's in control of the raft, right? Like it sets it up perfectly. Now, as a viewer that doesn't know Ross is in charge of the raft and other things, yeah, I get it. You look at it and go, well, that's kind of lame. Like, he didn't really do much this episode, like this series that he was in. But at the same time, he's not done. He's moving forward into some other role. So as a viewer that doesn't know the comics or doesn't really follow the MCU, I can understand that they're like disappointed in his exiting. But as a person that's following the MCU, I think it's just fine the way he walked off. And so
he's become a crowd favorite, the dancing, and I guess that's where the disappointment comes from. I don't think people are disappointed that he left in regard to like, oh no, bring him back, like, what'd you guys do, you ruined the show. But just the amount of just the one dancing video, everyone loved it, and it ended up setting a tone that people were just like enamored with that character, with the actor, and they want to see more of it.
Yeah, I mean, and they're bringing him to the raft, which is underwater prison, right? And he's not superhuman, right? This is a prison for superhumans, and yet I guess the Wakandas think he's smart enough, right? Like he's like a genius basically, and they don't want him out. It's weird to me. I know Bucky didn't kill him because the Wakandas wanted him, but don't you think that they would have killed him because they killed their king? I mean, I guess they wanted to just keep him in prison. That's more of a in debt to them. You know what I mean? I think
Ao's realization from when we saw her in the beginning, because it almost caught me off guard that here we have this character, and you know, God bless or God rest his soul, we're still under the assumption that he's still alive when she, meaning Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther,
right?
That character's, I guess, in the continuity, we're supposed to assume he's still alive. So her out for vengeance in terms of killing, it was kind of odd to begin with now that I'm looking back on it, because here we know T'Challa basically forgave his transgressions and didn't want him to die. He prevented his suicide.
Right.
So why would the Dora Milaje almost reinforce something that he probably didn't want? And it was good to realize that at the end, that was probably for the best to put him away, put him in prison, locked away, throw away the key and all that, because that's essentially what T'Challa wanted in the first place at the end of Civil War, after forgiving himself for going after all this vengeance. Vengeance has consumed him just like it has consumed Zemo in that same instance. So that's why it was weird to see Ao and the Dora Milaje basically on a vengeance spree as well.
Silent, you're absolutely right. You know, now that you said that scene when he does drop the bullets or shows the bullets, you're absolutely right. It does show that. It does show that he's in full control of himself. It's like he pulled the trigger and he pulled the bullets out. I get it. I see it now. Yeah,
for sure.
I didn't see it when they first did it. So
yeah, that's it. It's basically what I said. It shows that he's beyond.
Yeah.
He's much more than the Winter Soldier now.
Yeah, because
that's basically what this. And it's become my favorite arc of this story. I think, other than Isaiah Bradley's portion of it, and that whole resurrection of what was buried underneath between the first Black Captain America and then that all those transgressions, but the arc of Bucky trying to find his place in this new world without Cap, and feeling that him and that shield are the only good part of himself, where there's more to it, and his arc, and what we're going to probably see at in the last episode was with him reconcile with Mr. Nakashia. I definitely think it's become my personal favorite portion of the show is Bucky kind of finding this path of forgiveness within himself and with others.
I also like that Zemo also says to him, I took it amongst myself to scratch my name off your list, right? Like I thought that was pretty interesting as well, because that means, because again, Zemo has no qualms with Bucky, even though he's a super soldier, right? And he wants to get rid of all of them. He's not trying to kill Bucky either, right? They're like, which is pretty big for Zemo as well, right? Because he says that all super soldiers need to die, and at this point he's just like, I'm okay with you, right? And the whole gun scene does make sense with the bullets now. Now that Silent pointed that out, and you pointed it out as well, so I do like that. Yeah, so we're definitely going to see Zemo again, like, obviously.
Sure.
I could even see us we joked about this, I think, the week you were missing on the show, where I said I would love to see a Zemo Bucky Zemo combo in Wakanda or something, you know what I mean? Like they pick him up over there. I think that'd be interesting if they do that. But I like Zemo. Like, what are you gonna do with Zemo? As you're not making him the villain, and we were right about him not being the villain of the series, right? And what are you gonna do with him as far as he doesn't have superpowers? He's out of his wheelhouse, I guess, because of what they're trying to do. And it was a pretty good story of getting him on the good side to try to take out other super soldiers, right? So I think his arc is for this series I thought it was good. And sad we're not going to see him in the last final battle scene or whatever is going to happen in episode 6. It would have been nice if he was in one more episode and then Bucky turned him in, you know what I mean, in episode 6, but we'll see what happens for that section. Another scene I want to kind of jump to, this one was the Isaiah scene when Sam returns to Isaiah and shows up into the neighborhood and is looking for Isaiah, and then Isaiah's in the backyard, and he tells Sam how he's part of a group, and he uses him as a guinea pig as the U.S. tried to recreate the super soldier serum, right? And then he was sent on missions, even though Isaiah fellow test subjects weren't stable, sometimes to fatal, right? They fatal degree. And when someone were captured, the suits were going to bomb the POW camp and erase the evidence. And Isaiah defied the orders to rescue his comrades, but then died anyway. And then he got tossed into prison for 30 years and tried to figure out what the serum, why the serum worked on him. Right? And they basically just used him as a guinea pig the entire time. Isaiah, I read this in the comics. It's pretty damn close to the comics as he was portrayed in the show. What did you think about this scene? There's other lines I want to go over, but what did you think about this scene? I have to say, this is one of my favorite scenes. The first time we met him, the way the actor did a phenomenal job, and then again in this episode. So what did you think about this scene?
Great. Again, Batroc, George St. Pierre. I've loved him and his involvement since Captain America, Winter Soldier, and how he's being utilized. And I'll be honest with you, I think he's being utilized in the same fashion. He I will probably have to jump ahead because where I'm kind of going along with my train of thought is with Sharon Carter's involvement and her line of communication with Batroc. Definitely would seem to the layman that people would think that Sharon Carter is the power broker. I almost want to believe this is a red herring and this is going to be the big fake out that we are going to be led to believe that it's her, but it's really not. And I think she's utilizing Batroc in the same way that Nick Fury was utilizing Batroc in Winter Soldier, where he hired Batroc to steal the Lumerian star to find out if S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing something behind their back. I think she's being utilized in the same fashion here. I think she's putting Batroc in a position to either get ahead and find out who or what is the power broker. Why I don't think she is the power broker, I think, is the whole episode of her leading to the doctor and finding where the doctor was, Dr. Nagel. I think why would, if she was the power broker, of course, lead those individuals to the power broker's golden goose, where would that line of thinking be for the power broker if it is her, helping these individuals get a hold of someone who's essentially manufacturing super soldier serum? So I think we're going to be pulled last second to either think or lead that Sharon Carter, especially from this episode. It would be hard to not put it in the back of our minds as the viewers to think that, okay, she's the power broker. But I think, again, we're going to be led to believe and found out that it's someone else later on.
So the Isaiah scene where he also tells Sam, or Sam tells Isaiah, the world needs to hear his story, but the former soldiers, isn't convinced, right? So, quote, he says that they are worried about the stories might get out, so they erased me and my history. But they have been doing this for the last 500 years. The pledge allegiance to my brother, he says, right? Which is pretty hard. He says, pledge allegiance to that, my brother. He says to him, and they will never, let a black man be Captain America. Mm-hmm. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be. And that line right there, I was like, oh, I was like, so Sam wants to be the Captain America now, but he wants confirmation. And then Isaiah basically tells him, no, you have no self-respect if you want to be Captain America and fill his shoes. Yeah. And I think Sam was looking for him to look, Cap's not there to ask, right? And this guy is the closest thing to a Cap after him. And he was asking him, and he says, look, you have no self-respect if you want to be this, what they've done to me. And he shows him this giant scar and what they've done. He's like, this is the only memory I have. So at that point, what do you think is happening? I mean, obviously Sam he wants to be, but he doesn't want to be the Cap that Cap was, because Cap was super soldier serum. Isaiah was a super soldier serum. It does weird things to people, and yet they're in control of you if you take this serum, right? You're property of the maker, basically. So Sam is not going to be taking the serum. I don't think. At least I don't think in this MCU if he'll take the serum. In the comics, I don't believe he takes the serum. There is a version of a Falcon that does take the serum, right? Is that Taurus's Falcon, or is that?
I actually don't know. I don't know if Falcon has ever taken it off the top of my head.
In the comics that I've read so far, Sam never has the serum, right? So this is a powerful scene as far as that. Go ahead. Extremely, and it was a very powerful scene, and I almost would want to know. Right. I would love to know a black viewer that connected with the scene, how they interpreted it, and if they feel that, like what Bradley's saying, it's just like a ripple effect to either societal changes that have happened within the last 50 years. Like if it just is a bigger calling to what's going on systematically. I thought it was powerful to begin with. I don't know how powerful it can be even more if I was of certain color watching that as a person, because I have felt since the very beginning, since we were first introduced to Isaiah, he came with a powerful story, and it's a powerful story along with tragedy, and it speaks volumes to a lot of things that are either happening today or within the last, like I said, 50 years. Right. Now, going back to what you were talking about with the power broker, I'm not confused. In my brain, I what I see on film with Batroc going over to the Flag Smashers and helping him out because he's going to be like a terrorist, basically, right? Because they're terrorists now, right? We still don't know what he was doing in the very first episode with the guy taken across the border, right? And now that he talks to Sharon, I mean, he knows the number, right? So that means they've been in contact before, or working with each other before. This is where my brain starts to go crazy, right? Because we do know Nick Fury worked with Bad Truck back in the day, and we do know Sharon worked with Nick Fury back in the day. And I've speculated that Sharon.
I don't think Batroc knew he was working with Nick Fury. He was buying something under an alias, and that alias Nick Fury was hiding himself under.
Well, I understand that, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Nick Fury hired him, right?
Yeah.
And Sharon worked for Nick Fury. So I'm assuming, because I think Sharon is working with Nick Fury, that Nick Fury gave Sharon Batroc contact information to do stuff like what he's doing, right?
Exactly.
So this gives me more credence in my head, more evidence that Sharon is working for Nick Fury as a double agent. This is why I don't think she is the power broker, but I do believe that she's working for the power broker. Now, obviously, she's also trying to find, the Flag Smashers, which done pretty easily since Batroc is now literally standing next to them, right? And he talked to her beforehand, and now they're working together. So, which makes me think that the serum wasn't stolen by the Flag Smashers; it was given to them by the power broker, right? And then while they got the power, then they stole the rest of the serum from the power broker, right? So they double crossed the power broker in that way, shape, or form. Hence why the power broker is out to kill them. Okay. And now because Sharon is part of the power broker, again, this is no evidence of this, it's just what I'm seeing and putting all the pieces together. I think Sharon is that head. That's why she says we have problems. We have multiple problems, right? Because there's lots of things going on and a lot of things are crisscrossing. So it'll be interesting to see. I do not believe that Sharon is the power broker at all, right? At all. I don't think she, but I do believe that she is the linchpin in connecting everything that we're seeing right now. Because again, the last episode before, she had a bloody lip in one scene after, like what we talked about last week, and then she passed all these bodyguards, and they didn't look at her like she was the boss. They weren't scared of her, but at the same time, they weren't concerned with her. So she's working within that realm, working within that group of the power broker. But yeah, I think Batroc and her and Nick Fury are all connected in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully we find out this last episode what's going on. Chat, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Sharon is the power broker? Do you think it's someone that we haven't seen yet? You know, who do you guys think? So another scene I want to talk about, let me get to it real fast in my notes here. There's, a lot of this episode was I felt like it was like 80s/90s montage film. There was a lot of montages in this show. One with him training with the flag, one with them working on the boat. I think there was a third one. I think there was another training video of him training again by running and getting in shape to get better at throwing the shield. So Sam spends a lot of time in this episode, lunging that shield at all the, at the trees and working out and trying to basically taking back what he gave to Walker. After training the montage, he accepts that he's going to take the Captain America mantle to stop the Flag Smashers in the New York City attack, right? Because we do see that, I think it was Taurus that said, look, they've been attacking at all these places over here, and just a little while ago, there was a ping inside New York. He puts the pieces together and is on his way to New York. Now, the pre-credit shot sees him opening a mysterious case that Bucky brought to him while they were in the montage of fixing the boat. He did say, hey, I need one more favor that he asked the Wakandans. So obviously it's the new suit. I would assume it's the new suit with the new wings and the way it looks, and it's going to look sort of like the comic, you would assume, right?
I definitely think that. I think everyone's inclination was just like, right when he was handed something from Wakanda, they're going to have some sort of flair to it. They're going to want the representation to be right that this is the individual that should have been Captain America, and I think they're going to pay homage to that issue of Sam Wilson in the red, white, and blue Falcon ensemble. I absolutely think so.
Now, do you think the suit that he's looking at when he opens it up is probably just like just the wings? Do you think everything else manifests with like sort of like Stark tech?
That'd be really cool if they applied like some sort of nanotech to the wings as well, for sure. I mean, can I say if it is? I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there are. If this is going to be something, I will say, I think this is going to be something next level to what we saw in the comics to this suit because of the fact it's coming from Wakanda.
Right. The Flag Smashers. Carly activates a bunch of Flag Smashers sleeper agents in Manhattan, and they prepare to attack the global or the GRC as it gets ready to vote for the forcing of millions of blip displacement refugees to return home to their countries. So again, Sharon Carter, who apparently is linked to the incident in with the mercenary Bad Truck in the beginning of episode 1, she sends Bad Truck to help Carly, and the company of her motivation remains unclear, right? So again, she helps. She knows where Carly is. Then why didn't she help with Sam? And she needs to help Sam because now she wants to get back to the United States and get free, so she's not hiding in Madripoor. There's a lot there. That's the main plot, right? That's the main plot of this. So the power broker who was pursuing Carly is also to get stolen super soldier serum back, but there is none to get back, right? Because all the super soldier serum is dead now. The only ones that's left. So basically, it's got to be capturing Carly and using her as a host, right? To get that serum back, because that's it. That's the only way I see this ending, where Carly won't die, or Carly will just be captured by the power broker or whoever, and her punishment will be basically what Isaiah was talking about, where they used him as a guinea pig and did all the stuff, right? That's the way I see it playing out. How do you see it playing out?
It's hard because I think it could play out where I don't know if they're going to be able to fulfill a redemption sort of protocol with Carly in just this one episode. I think maybe she might realize what she did is wrong and accept her fate and go to jail. But I don't know if this character is going to wake up mid-fight and be like, hey, what I'm doing is wrong. I got to help the good guys. I got to help the people I've been hating this entire show. Right. It's hard, but at the same time, there have been moments with her realization, and especially with the conversation that she had with Sam in episode 4, where she's catching herself in her speech, where she sounds like an evil genius. She's like, no, I didn't mean it that way. And I think those are moments of levity of the character realizing I'm not evil. I'm supposed to be doing something right. But I think Zemo giving the rundown about her, saying in front of the memorial, saying like she's too far gone. It's either going to happen with you killing her or she killing you.
Right. Something funny, when Carly hit the button to activate, and all those people stood up in the park in New York and then started walking over. There's a shot where I looked at some of the people and it looked like, I don't know, just like my dad. Like I was just like, right, and I was like, like an old guy. I was like, is he gonna be part of the? I was like, come on. I was like, what's that gonna do? The resistance right now? Yeah, like who's he fighting? Yeah, I was like, come on, who casted this guy into being this scene? Sure. Yeah, it was just funny. It was funny.
It looked like they were about to do what do they call the flash dance, the mob dance?
Yeah, mob dance. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, I thought they were all gonna start clapping or something in a minute. Yeah,
yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Obviously, there's a lot that goes in this episode, with Bucky showing up, kind of building up this bond with him and Sam. Sam opens up his house, starts to flirt with his sister. He says, "Don't flirt with my sister." They had this little moment or whatever. He helps him. I laughed out loud sometimes during the montage scenes when Sam's struggling to do something, and then Bucky just walks over and rips it off in like 2 seconds and stuff. It's just funny. And then I actually said it when he was fixing the pipe, the water pipe, when he was fixing it with the wrench. He's like, hold on a second. I was like, why doesn't he use his arm? And then when he shuts it off, Sam's like, why didn't you use your arm? And he's like, oh, I forget about it sometimes. I'm what do you say? I'm left-handed or something?
No, he goes, sometimes I forget about it, and because it's something I did before, and plus I'm right-handed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He's been so used to doing one thing a certain way, it's like he forgets you got this blood flowing through you that gives you this super strength along with this vibranium arm. You could have literally took that with like 3 fingers and turned it
just
instead
twisted
of using the tool. But yeah, it was a human moment, and it ended up being really funny, him saying, yeah, I'm righty.
There's also that moment where Bucky is sleeping in Sam's house, and he wakes up on a couch, and the kids are there, and they're playing with the shield. Right? He didn't get a nightmare. He didn't get like freaked out. He woke up and he was relaxed at that moment. Right? And I actually like the shot of it because the light's shining in on him. It almost, because if you remember, the couple times they showed him in his empty house, in his empty apartment, sleeping on the floor in the dark. You know what I mean? It was very, and this scene was very light, warm-hearted, like the way it was shot and filmed. It was very light and warm. The kids were there, so he's surrounded by strangers because he's never met Sam's family before, and he felt comfortable there. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a big moment for. As far as Bucky's arc in the series, that he's almost at ease now, right? Because Sam has the shield. Yeah. He forgave Zemo and gave Zemo back. The only thing left, basically, they got Walker back, or Walker down. Like I said, they got the shield back. He's bonding with his friend. And as they leave, he says, we should do this again or whatever. He's like, yeah, but we're not partners, right? He makes it clear that we're not partners, even though obviously they are partners. The other montage scene with Sam training with the shield, I thought it was good. I think that was the one montage scene they needed to have, and not the other ones with that they did with the boat scene. The boat, to me, is a wasted plot point in this series.
Seems it's filler. It's leveling you down to the family, the grassroots, where he's coming from, like, to just, again, make you relate to the characters at hand, that they have real life issues, real life problems, real life struggles, and on the other side of this coin, you're out saving the world.
Yeah, to me, like the whole Sarah, the kids, the boat, the bank loan is just kind of like a throwaway plot point. Sort of like the first couple episodes of Wanda with the sitcom type stuff, right? It's just throwaway because it doesn't really mean anything in the end. The training montage, though, of him tossing. Now, we talked about this, I think, in episode 2 when we looked at Walker, and we were like, yeah, that guy has serum, like I was like, I don't think he's got serum. And everyone's like, yeah, he's got serum. Look at the way he's throwing that thing. And we see Sam training with the shield, and he's not doing anywhere near close to what Walker was doing. So it makes you think how much more talented is Walker athletic wise. And obviously Sam's not a chump. He's a combat veteran himself.
He's gone toe to toe, with interstellar monsters. It was nice, as you said, in the comparison, that he's not some super, not figurative, or excuse me, literal super, but a figurative super soldier where you have 3 Medal of Honors. This is just a person who got out and was doing therapy sessions for people in the VA. So it's nice to also see that he is human as well. He is making mistakes. He still can't catch on to the shield at first go. So yes, it was nice to see the humanistic approach to him.
Right. What did you think overall? Oh, the last scene, post-credit scene, we see John Walker like working away, sort of like the Iron Man sequence in Iron Man 1, you know what I mean? Where he's hammering away at some sort of shield, obviously, that he's making, and he's putting the US agent logo, or Lamar's actually thing, on his shield. I thought it was a cool shot, but I'm like, what's he making it out of? It's like, great, it's metal. It's not going to be anywhere near balanced
It's
or
not vibranium.
Yeah, it's not vibranium.
It's definitely given us a preview of that this character is coming back. He's pissed off, and he's still in his mind under the impression that he's Captain America, and I think he's also going to be involved in a post-credit scene in the next episode as well, when he's probably either approached by someone else, maybe even Ross. Who knows?
All right, so my question, maybe I'll wait for right now. I'm going to invite anybody that wants to come in and be a part of the show. You can join our Discord channel over on SNTR Network. Drop yourself in to the support voice 1, and then I'll drag you in and we'll have questions here, because I have a couple questions I want to ask and go around. If Krebsy and Gritter want to come in, because they've been here every single week for the duration of the show, so get them in. If anybody else would like to call in or drop a question inside chat, right now would be the time to do it, so me and Wolverine can answer and have a conversation about what you guys think. You know, what some of the things that, you know, me and Wolvie get to sit here and tell you what we thought and what we speculated. What did you guys think and speculate? You can chat in. You can either drop it into the chat. You can either come into the actual voice chat. Either way, this is the second part of the show for the chat call-ins and discussions portion of the show. So I don't want to ask my next question until we have somebody. Gritter looks like he's here. I know Gritter's always got a bunch of questions to ask. He's got his finger on the pulse. All right, I'm bringing Gritter in right now. All right, Gritter. I'll grab you in a second, Krebsy. How's it going today? How you doing? You can't hear us yet. I guess what I'll ask the question real fast. I'll ask the question, and then I'll bring them in. There we go. And I'll bring them in. So the question I have is, do you think that yeah, what's up, Gritter?
Oh, you can hear me now.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
Yeah. Let me ask my question, and then you can answer it, and we'll get to you in a second. Right? So at the end of this series, do you think the big bad fight that we're going to get is John Walker versus Sam, right? Like, maybe Sam's suit is vibranium, right? And he can at least kind of hang with Super Soldier, right? And do you think that they fight each other, but then they work together, right? Just to put their differences aside, and John Walker, because he definitely wants Carly, right? His anger is towards Sam and Bucky, but it's morally towards Carly because they killed she killed, right? She killed Hoskins. So do you think that Sam and him work together to capture Carly, or do you think it's a three-way fight type of thing where it's Carly and the Flag Smashers versus Walker versus Sam and Bucky? What do you think, Wolvie? What do you think, Gritter?
Go ahead, Gritter.
Thank you, Wolverine. I think that maybe at first there's going to be tension between Walker and Sam, in addition to Carly, like a three-way split. But at some point, I think it's going to be a team-up of them. The classic verses where the two people go at it, but then they're like, we got to join forces to go against a bigger threat. So they're going to most likely join forces. And I think it's going to be somewhat of a redeeming arc for Walker, because I don't think he's a bad guy. He had good intentions, but he was in over his head, Right. What do you think, Wolvie?
It's hard to say, because there could be room for redemption for both characters. Like, I just thought in my mind, what happens if the Flag Smashers got to work together with Sam to stop Walker, because Walker's just taking names, killing people,
right?
Killing a few of these Flag Smashers, just like he, whacks that one dude, Nico. I think that's the most unlikely. I doubt Sam, is going to work with the Flag Smashers. The only reason that leads me to think that is just because it seemed when Sam spoke to Carly. They were on level terms, at least in a conversation. Maybe he can connect with her again. We remember that this character, basically, he was a therapist for basically people that have gone through severe amounts of PTSD and trauma. So I definitely can see him relating to Carly. I don't know if it's going to happen mid-fight, but I think this fight is going to be kind of like a three-way tussle where get out of my way, I need to kill her, I need to stop her because I need to redeem myself, and then Sam's like, we're going to stop her, but you're not killing anybody. So it's just, I think it's going to be some sort of like, we got to stop her, but I got to stop you from killing her, but I got to stop her from wanting to kill everybody.
It's this juggling act. It's this juggling act.
I think he's going to have to. I think Sam and Bucky are going to have to stop both parties in some sort of fashion.
Yeah, I do think that the end is going to be like Walker about to kill Carly, and then Sam and them say this is not the way, or try to get him redeemed. You know what I mean? Like something like that. So, Gritter, what's going on? What questions do you have for us?
Well, I want to first say, I missed last week because I had some in-home stuff had to do with the air conditioning unit. So I forgot there was an episode last week until like Wednesday. I was like, oh no. But
I thought you were mad at me. I thought you were mad at me.
No. But my questions are so let me go to Wolverine, because Wolverine did ask, well, how, because I am black. You want how does a black person take the feedback that
for sure dude.
Isaiah gave Sam. So I understood where Isaiah was coming from, and it was a real tragic thing, because I in addition to what he was saying. I mean, I do know. I mean, I did not go to Tuskegee. I went to Howard University, but I do have friends who did go to Tuskegee, and I'm not going to go too much into an example, but there's an example of a certain thing where certain people felt discomfort, and others are like, let's do the thing anyway. And it's always going to be that tussle back and forth where people are like, well, we remember back when certain things were done and tested on people, and then people are like, but today's a new day. So I think with that comment, at least for me, just taking that aside, just looking at this as Marvel, and because remember Falcon, I think as I try to reiterate, he's been put in a position of being a good role model, not just being a B or C level character,
right?
But you need to get him to a level where little kids look up to him, and I think especially as a black person, I mean, for all kids, he should be a role model, but particularly when black kids look at their mother and father, they want to look at something they could see that's what their mother and father would have struggled with and persevered. So to see that example, and so as soon as Isaiah said, "You'll be a fool," a person will be a fool to do that. I knew that was okay. You darn turn. What's it called? The saying go, your detractors are your motivators.
Right.
You darn motivate. You went and motivated him even more to do the thing you did not want him to do. But I knew as the competition went on, because Sam's going to be like, no, I got to prove this wrong. What happened to you was wrong. This is a new day. I'm going to make sure. I mean, you suffered. So my generation can look at that and say, this is how we're going to make sure that does not happen again. But the ideal of having someone like you as a Captain America was a righteous one, but we just know we can navigate minefields maybe a little bit better,
right?
So yeah, I just took it as that.
He's basically saying, Sam's saying, look, it doesn't have to be this way, it could change, but Isaiah's so burnt, right? I mean, basically they screwed him big time, so he's like, no, there's no hope, right? Like he's the half glass empty guy, where Sam's the half glass full guy, right? He's like, it can change, it could be better, and Isaiah's like, no, you'd be a fool to think that way.
Oh, and here's one last better example. Let's say just again mentioning the horrors that have happened in the past. Someone could say, you would be a fool to ever think you could make a change. Why would you ever want to sit in the White House? And then here comes Barack Obama, who's sitting on that couch like, I'm going to be in that White House, and he did it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Very true. You have any other question?
No. Any other only question I have is just more, I guess, I have no idea who the power broker is going to be.
So you don't think it's Sharon?
No, I think it's too much. As much as I would like that, I think there's too much with her. If she was anyone other than having the last name of Carter, being related to a Peggy Carter, I would be all in for that. But I just can't see how a relative of Peggy Carter could
someone
be
so good,
so nefarious.
Yeah.
So you know, it just doesn't fit.
Maybe she felt the pressure, didn't want to be like mom. Maybe she wanted to make her own.
No. No.
Maybe she's like, I'm tired of being a Carter. I want to make my own name. Right.
Oh, but another thing too, I do agree with. I think it was the U30 who was saying you think it's a guy named Bardak, the guy from
Batroc. You mean?
Yeah, Batroc. Yeah, I do. When you brought it up, I do think now. Yeah, he's most likely a covert agent working on behalf of someone, probably most likely Sharon, because when Sharon makes a call, all of a sudden he shows up. I don't think that's by coincidence.
Right. Like she's looking for Carly. Batroc just happens to be by Carly, right? So he's like, yeah, I brought the explosives. We're gonna do some stuff here. I think he's also going to be double crossing, them as well, because I think Sharon needs to get them as well, because look, there is no serum left. Right, the serum is gone, and this is why I think they need to capture one of those people, because they have the serum running through their bodies, so they have to capture them live to take them, right? So
yeah, synthesize another one. Yeah,
Krebsy, I'm gonna bring you in. All right, Krebsy, what's going on?
Well, how's everyone?
Good. How are you?
Dude?
Good, Crips.
So, the whole Batroc thing, what do you think he was doing in episode 1 if he was working with Carter?
All we know is that he was trying to get that guy across the border, right? All we know is that, I mean, based on what we know, he could have been a really, like a type of John Walker type of military guy, where maybe he was really good at what he did, and they wanted to use him as the experimental for the next serum of some of whatnot. I don't know, but all we know is they were trying to get that guy across that border, and once he crossed that border, they wouldn't be able to get him. Right, Sam would be out of jurisdiction. So that's all we know. But there is something there. But again, it could be just a throwaway plot point. What do you think, Wolvie?
If we're going to go along the line of thinking that Batroc was hired to do something for the good guys disguised by an alias, like he was basically set up for in Winter Soldier, my assumption would be is that they captured this individual because they knew, or this person to steal, and they knew that Sam were to go after him because this is possibly someone the Flag Smashers needed, or the power broker might have needed. So this individual, I think, probably has more of a greater meaning that we were led to believe from the beginning, because it took basically the entire movie of Winter Soldier to realize that the Lumerian Star capture sequence was for Nick Fury to find out what exactly they were doing with Project Insight. So I definitely think there's some sort of bait and switch gonna happen in this last episode, and I think Sharon Carter is going to be playing that Nick Fury bait and switch, be like, yeah, I hired Batroc because I've been after the Flag Smashers, and she's been on a lead from the power broker, whatever the case may be. It could be the double agent scenario that 30 was saying earlier, where she's under affiliation with the power broker, but under guidance by Nick Fury. Could very well turn out to be that way.
I just thought of something while you were saying that. What if the very first plot point, or the very first thing we saw, was Sharon setting up Sam to get Sam where they were so they could meet, so then she could, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, I just feel like something's there now. Like if Sharon is in charge and she's working with Batroc, and maybe gave the order to Batroc to get the thing, and then she knew that Sam was going, because she had no contact with Sam, right? They couldn't reach out to each other, right? he said you have my number, but she couldn't reach out to him, right? I don't know. And then maybe she knew something was going to happen and knew he was going to send it, so they would start looking into it, to then end up in Madripoor, to then see Sharon, to then see set up and have this whole thing set up. Maybe it's a you know, one of those sort of like what they did with Zemo's escape from prison. We won't know the actual thing until it's told at the very end, and then they show us the this is what I had to do to get you here, to get this to happen. I don't know. It just seems very, very strange, especially if Sharon is part of. I mean, she's definitely a bigger part of this series. You know what I mean? We just don't know what point or what plot she holds. Go ahead, Cubsy.
Okay, next question. Do you think Val is the PB?
No.
I think she's got a.
I think she's Val.
She's got an agenda.
Yeah.
I think she's got her own.
I think she's
sort
Val.
of a thing going on. I think the power broker is probably someone she
knows,
could be in cahoots with.
Yeah, she knows.
Knows that individuals like Carly, Walker all got something because of what the power broker had. I think she's absolutely aware of that, and I think because of that knowledge, could very well be how Ross could end up turning into Red Hulk if that ever does happen.
Here's another thing I just thought of. What about if the guy that they were trying to get across the border was somebody they were supposed to give the serum to work for Val, right? Instead, now we have Walker who took the serum, and that's why she said it was you know, very smart, because now you know, lots of people are interested in you now. Maybe they were supposed to have something, but now the plans had to change.
Wouldn't that mean that she would be the power broker?
No,
she
wouldn't be the power broker. She'd just be somebody that both the power broker also works for, right?
Do you think there's any chance they may use the identity of the power broker as something that's revealed later on in one of the movies? Do you think we could see that being revealed this Friday instead?
I mean, I said a couple weeks ago that if they do say that we were going on the Ross theory, right? We were going on the Ross theory that Ross was the power broker. I said we probably wouldn't see him until the end cut scene of the series. It would be like one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So Gritter thinks that the power broker is Mephisto.
I do.
No, not like literally Mephisto, like Mephisto for WandaVision.
Yeah, is the Mephisto, right? We think the power broker is going to be seen, but we never ever see Mephisto. We never see the power broker, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Madripoor didn't become the Ralph Boner of this episode of this series. We actually saw Madripoor, and it had some significance of it, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the power broker could be the Ralph Boner.
I'm hopeful that we're not going to get a boner.
I love the fact that we referenced that just because.
Yeah, it's just I don't want any more of that. It was fun for that. Yeah. It was great for the theme, like, you know, the whole Agatha All Along song. Like, I think let that be in that realm. Let me be surprised in this realm. In this facet of Marvel, but at the same time not like swindled into thinking like we just had multiverse action, but really it's just some dude named fucking Ralph Boner.
Do you think there's any possibility like anyone from WandaVision, anyone, I don't care if it's a side character, how big or small, could have a pop-up appearance in this week's episode as some kind of tangible
I think I think if I don't know, I'm getting ahead. But I'm gonna say it just because you said it, Gritter. We have our out of left field theories that we throw out in here. I think we're gonna be led into to Spider-Man. They're in New York. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think that's a coincidence at all.
Well, actually, that's not bad, because if you think about this, takes place 6 to 7 months right after WandaVision, and that's supposed to.
Before Far From Home,
right? And it's supposed to take place, so it might connect. That's not a bad out of left field.
I think it could have some maybe small cameo. It's just if there's some giant fight in New York, I think it would be a little hard that either a spider sense doesn't go off or a news report on a TV where he's got walking by. It would just seem hard to believe that Spider-Man doesn't have any sort of inclination that something's going on in his city, and what's going on. And another person who
That's a big out of left field. That's a big one.
There's another person hanging out in New York right off Bleecker Street, Doctor Strange, and I know we're far from his film, but he resides in New York as well. So I think there's room for this location to kind of fork into either one of these stories.
Wolverine, you know what that I would like about that in this last episode. We get proof, like, okay, so think about it this way. Let's say before the end, we find out someone, I know this is a bad idea, but someone could be a Skrull. Doctor Strange shows up. That's wizards, aliens, and what's the third thing? But robot. There's someone that's a robot. We find in Bucket's like, see, I told you. And, before the end.
It's a callback to that one line. Honestly, that would be funny that they would do that. How it would happen. Yeah, how it would happen, man, it's up to those imaginative minds. But we know Emilia Clarke has just signed off on to do, a Marvel. Yeah, and we know that's it's loosely tied to the Skrulls. So
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me as well, Gritter, that if this one ended with some sort of Skrull appearance as well, because we've been getting Skrull appearances ever since Far From Home.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Gritter.
I was gonna say this one thing. If there is a Skrull, I'm calling it. I think it's Bardock. He was acting a little.
Batroc.
Yeah.
You got Goku's father.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're all in the same room, dude. I know who you mean.
He's an alien that can show up as well. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Bardock comes.
Man.
Good one.
I think he could be the Skrull. He looked. And they're like, yeah, I wanted to get revenge too. Yeah, I want revenge. I don't know. Did anyone catch that vibe from him? Like he's kind of like, yeah, I need to sell that. I want revenge.
I think the people that could show up realistically, I think I would love to see Doctor Strange, by the way, or Spider-Man, but I think that's too far of a prediction. I think what we see is we can see Rhodey's character again come back and help them. War Machine come back and help them because we saw him. He was established already, right?
That's the robot right there. Yeah.
Right. I don't know if it's a robot, but yeah. But I think he can show up at the GRC to help them at the end over here. I could see him showing up. Oh shit! And I just forgot the other person. And we might. I don't want to say he'll be on film, but maybe a voice of something of Nick Fury. Like because of Sharon. If my theory's correct and she's working with Fury, I say they at the very end of this episode she makes a call or makes that connection and Nick Fury talks to her. But that's realistic who I can see, but I would love if Doctor Strange showed up and they referred back to the wizards, robots, and aliens type of thing. That would be interesting if they went back to that. But I can see Rhodey helping out the GRC, and then I can also
if any of those big name characters, either Spider-Man or Strange, show up, I think it'll be like that 1 second, last second thing, like we need to go over there, we need to go, or they show the Sanctum Sanctorum, like they just show Sam standing outside of the building, or maybe Peter is watching all this from a distance, all this fighting. I don't know. I think maybe it could lead into something that small. I know they're going to have to start getting ready for Spider-Man. Spider-Man comes out at the end of this year, so that we're due for some sort of something from them, and it could just very well come from a trailer and not from any of these shows. But man, with all the rearranging of everything. With the timelines of the movies releasing and the shows releasing, man, I think we're going to probably be hit with something a lot sooner than originally intended, whether it's in this show or something else.
Is Shang-Chi in New York as well?
No.
I don't think so.
I know nothing of Shang-Chi, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So
China.
We could talk about that. They just had a trailer this week. I'm excited for a new Marvel story. I'm not a giant Shang-Chi comic reader by any means. I'm excited in the very least about what they're going to do with the Mandarin character. My biggest flaw about it is that I'm not going to get any Iron Man versus Mandarin, but at least they're going to give proper justice to the Mandarin persona rather than what we got in Iron Man 3.
Yes. Because I'm not going to lie to you fellas, that whole bait and switch totally ruined the whole Iron Man 3 for me. I was like, oh, you had me until you did that.
yeah. I agree. Yeah.
You'll never see me coming.
Krebsy, do you have another question? Another bomb you want to throw? Hand grenade you want to throw in?
Okay, sure. So during this fight, we think there's going to be a fight during episode 6. Okay, if Walker is in that fight, do we think that he will be captured and thrown onto the Thunderbolts?
I think he gets put in the raft too.
Yeah.
I think he gets put in the raft. I think they find some way to put him in the raft, and it starts setting up the stage to get these cats together. And it only takes one conversation with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character to Ross, while Ross is holding on to Brule, Zemo, and Walker. Man, like I said, we could be very well seeing some sort of hybrid Dark Avengers and or Thunderbolts right before our very eyes.
I'm going to take 2 shots in the dark. I'm going to say that at the end of Black Widow, Taskmaster is going to go to the raft.
Mm-hmm.
End of this episode, episode 6, we're getting a post-credit scene or a reveal of either a TV show or a new
that
IP
makes sense.
of Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers.
You know what?
Can you imagine? But I was just gonna say, can you imagine if we get a shot at the end of the next episode of Walker being taken to the raft?
Yeah. Zemo's there. Yeah.
And then we see some sort
Taskmaster.
of
Yeah.
Maybe they don't show who or what they are because we're under the assumption that we don't know the identity of Taskmaster. Personally, I think it's gonna be Rachel Weisz's character.
There too.
Mephisto's in the raft as well, right? Yeah. I don't think we'll get like who's under the mask of Taskmaster if Taskmaster is in the raft, but I don't know. That would be a lot to find out because I definitely think that this story, along with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character being casted in this one and that movie, is going to be connected in a greater way.
You know, I can 100% see that. Like he gets captured at the end, Walker. He goes to the raft, Zemo's at the raft, right? And then Taskmaster's at the raft, and they all meet, and you have it sounds bad, but you almost see the same scene of where Michael Keaton in the Spider-Man, you know what I mean? And they're all in the prison. They have that like little moment.
He's talking to Gargan.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that happens. But in this, I could see that happening. That's actually not a good. That's a pretty good pickup there.
Yeah, maybe you don't get a shot of Taskmaster, but let's say you see a cell door and they're like, yeah, someone real big's behind there, and then you see the manifest and it says Taskmaster in quotations on a login sheet on who's in that cell. I think we've seen crazier things happen, but I think this whole rearranging of getting this show before we get Black Widow at the one, I hope it doesn't hurt Black Widow. I think they waited a little too long to push Black Widow, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely! Like 8 years too long.
Yeah, I agree too.
I'm hoping it proves me wrong with how they fed us this information, maybe with getting getting Winter Soldier and Falcon first. Maybe will help Black Widow much more than we previously thought. I'm still excited to see it. It's going to be, a Marvel feature film that we haven't got since Far From Home. So I just hope it doesn't hurt it at the end of the day.
So I just looked it up Bad Truck is part of the Thunderbolts as well?
Yes.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh wow.
I didn't know that. Oh yeah, we're definitely getting that. We're definitely yeah.
Some sort of version of this anti-hero group that they're going to need to utilize when they can't trust or control the Avengers, but they can control these cats.
Oh man, I know Venom's part of it, and I would love. I don't think Sony's gonna play ball there.
Yeah.
I don't think Sony will play ball there.
I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I think Sony's going to play ball, but I don't think he's going to go into that collective. I think Sony's going to play ball in the way that Hardy's going to need some help from Tom to take out Carnage.
Is the Vulture? Isn't the Vulture in the raft too from Far From Home? I mean, from Homecoming.
No, I don't think he's in the raft. I think he's just in some other maximum security prison.
Okay. Because I was thinking about that trailer where what's his name was talking to Morbius. It's like, "What's up, Doc?" or something like that. So yeah, just
and he's in the same area probably where he was talking to Scorpion as well. It could be that, but we all know that they're going this Sony universe and or Marvel connected area is going to cross paths with whether it's Morbius, the next Venom movie, it's going to happen at some point. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Wrong movie series, Gritter. We're not watching Space Jam now.
Which looks awful, by the way. It looks awful.
I'm not excited for that, unfortunately.
Well, Well, you have another. You have another grenade there. Krebsy?
I'm going to keep coming with the grenades. Okay.
I have one before you go on, and I think it's going to happen. I think we see old Steve Rogers again next episode.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. I think we do.
Nope.
I think we do.
Whether it's a picture or whether it's something, I think we see Chris Evans again.
There's a difference between a picture and dialogue.
Chris Evans going to be.
I think we're going to see Chris Evans.
Technically, you've already seen Chris Evans in a picture in there when
I think we'll get old. We'll see old Chris Evans again. We'll see where we left off in Endgame.
But in the dialogue between Sam and Bucky, it kind of sounded like he kicked the bucket.
No, he didn't.
No, he's not dead. There's no way.
I think the gravity would be so much bigger in what's going on in this show.
They would have had a funeral for him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
they would have had a funeral, but no one knows that old Cap's alive, so it would only been like 4 people.
True. And I think, but at the same time, Krebs, I think it would have been more devastating maybe within the therapy sessions and or Bucky's private conversations with Sam. If he did die, he would have needed a vent about something like some sort of something.
Hold on.
They would have visited his grave site.
Maybe.
Would have been next to Sharon.
He's not dead. Listen,
Peggy.
Listen, it's only 7 months after he came back from Avengers Endgame. What do you think? This guy came back and kicked the bucket after he handed the shield? He's just an old guy. Doesn't mean he's on his deathbed.
Bucky is using his book as like a therapy. Why won't you just go to him and use him?
Because he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't want to be found. He doesn't. They just let it be.
The only person that knows is Sam, and he's not going to say anything.
Do you think we could have Old Man Cap visiting Isaiah?
Well, I have a theory about
Isaiah. That would be a hell of a scene if that was the case.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Should I say my Isaiah theory?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think next episode, battle's going to be going on. Isaiah's going to be like, okay, I need to go out and help.
You just saying that, I got chills in my arms, man. Like if he comes in and he's like dressed up in whatever Captain America suit he was wearing.
That would be good.
Either Walker or Carly or someone's gonna hit the off button, and then Ross is gonna capture his body and use his blood to make the next super soldier serum. And
oh no, if they ain't gonna do Isaiah like that. If he comes back in and helps, he's either passing, like he's gonna fight and like.
Yeah, he's gonna be given a heroic death.
Yeah, a heroic thing to be seen.
Heroic death, but at the end, the body's gonna go with Ross. And
I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a hell of a grenade right there. If that happens,
they would do like a parallel where Sam is feeling all justified, like, yeah, I did it. And then they do show another scene of Isaiah's body been put in the back of a truck, and they show another parallel of him saying, "I need to find Isaiah and tell him this is going to work out." And then the parallel of the doors closing on Isaiah's casket, and it fades to black.
All right, I want to say something real quick before we start going too deep down. We're getting all excited, okay? Because remember, when we were watching the first WandaVision, we thought there was a lot to be closure for the last episode, and
We didn't.
Bringing us down to
we
earth.
didn't get anything, right? We didn't get anything. We're saying a lot of stuff right now. I just want to put the people that are listening to this. Look, I would love any and all of this to happen, but let's keep our expectations pretty minimal, right? I think what Krebsy just said with like Ross and everything, it's literally going to be like a minute, 30-second, 45-second end cut scene, whatever it is for the big moment. I don't think we're getting anything major. I would love all of this to happen, though. I mean, it would be amazing.
If it's either Ross or one of the other heroes that we mentioned that reside in New York, it would be, like you said, 30 seconds, last few minutes, minute, if that, maybe even end credit scene.
We're not getting Spider-Man or Doctor Strange.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think so either. I that's why I kept my expectations to Rhodey and like Nick Fury's like voice. You know what I mean?
What if one of the final? This is my grenade I'm throwing out there. I'm throwing the atom bomb. They do like 2 post credits. You know, one of the post credits, Krebsy mentioned, and then on my extra post credit, like at the end of everything, they show Sharon and Madripoor at the bar, and someone throws. Someone throws, not throw,
dancing.
but
I don't want to hear any mutant stuff.
Oh no! Gives the shot glass, and you hear. So you don't even see the person. You hear the voice say, "Thanks for the drink, bub," and then it fades away.
Oh, you see.
See, I would I like that. If they did something like that, that'd be nice.
It would break the internet.
I'll tell you what. You don't even have to hear that. All Sharon has to do is walk by the bar, and you just see the hair, right?
Yeah.
You just see the back. You just see the back, and he's sitting at the bar, and he's taking a drink, right? That's all you need to see. No voice, nothing. It's all you need.
Something?
Yeah, Wolverine. It would be Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Bub.
How did you not get by the bub?
Listen here, bub.
I was joking.
All right, give me one more thing. One more thing. Oh my God! I heard a page turn. How many things did you have?
Oh wow!
Oh, I have.
I heard a page turn.
About 6 pages.
Lordy.
I'm not even joking. I don't know.
All right, give me a couple. Go ahead. Give me a speed round here. What's going on? I heard a page turn. You have a lot more than what I thought.
Okay, I'll throw this out there. I think because this series is going to tie into something. You know, WandaVision's tying into Doctor Strange,
the
Spider-Man
multiverse.
3. Yeah. I think this series is going to have something to tie into, whether it be Secret Invasions.
I think it will. And Armor Wars.
And Armored Wars, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I think Rhodey will make an appearance or some sort in this as well again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Krebsy. What do you got? Go ahead. Go down the list. Speed round.
We covered most of them. I don't know. The only one I have left is like, what do you think is going to happen to Carly and the future of Bucky in Black Panther?
I think Bucky goes back to Wakanda. I do. I think he goes back to Wakanda.
Oh, wait, Bucky has to have the conversation with the father. He needs to have that before the series ends. He needs to go back to the father whose son he killed.
That's true.
And make amends.
Although the Sam did tell Bucky that he doesn't need to like go to those people for himself. He has to help those people with their problems.
Yeah, but he's been kind of, I think in his mind he's been trying to do, I think he's been doing that more so with the father than other people. Other people he's just showing up like, I'm trying to help you and not trying to hurt, With the father, he's actually being his friend and getting food with him, and they're drinking together and they're sharing dating tips and stuff like that. So,
you know what would be kind of strange is if that's like a long lost relative of Shang-Chi.
Ooh, that would be good too.
I mean, I
have no idea, but
I love this is what I love about people that watch these things and speculate. And you guys, like you
We're
see
all
that?
over the place.
Yeah, you see that guy over there? That guy's third cousin of Wolverine. Like that's what he is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. He's smoking all them cigars.
Yeah, he's got a
man.
cigar. It's something. I love it though. I absolutely love it.
We're getting Stryker. I'm telling you.
Oh,
Yeah, human Nakajima. I think that's going to basically be how Bucky's arc of the show ends. Him resolving that with them coming to a heart-to-heart moment. Hopefully with forgiveness. I'm sure Nakajima will feel with some sort of solace that he found out, and knowing that it was him, and all the amount of penance probably will be something that Nakajima takes into consideration, realize that this man has been a part of my life, realizing how much pain he's been going through, even more pain than I was, and I lost my son.
I think they'll open up the next episode with that. I think it'll open up with Bucky going back, because he was leaving Sam at the last episode, wherever he's going. He's going back to that person, right? That has to be closed down for this for the series. If he goes back to the sushi bar and sees the waitress again or the bartender again, and then he's there and they have lunch again, and then he tells him something. I think that's going to be the starting point of this next episode, because if they leave that open, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, it is.
I think
for his plot, for his story.
Sam saying those therapeutic words to him, saying, you need to find forgiveness in yourself. You need to find forgiveness within yourself so these other people can forgive you. I think resonated a lot with Bucky.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
And basically will give him the motivation and courage to say the things that he needs to say to Nakajima. And I agree with you. I think it very well could start with that portion of it, of the episode, because he says to him, "Call me when you got a lead on Carly." So currently they don't know where she's at, even though that we see something's happening at the GRC.
Right.
I think after with what we get with Nakajima, I think Bucky will get the call from Sam, be like, "Hey, they're in New York."
Not to burst on everyone's bubble, but we got a resolution to the beekeeper.
Oh my god!
Stop!
I'm gonna change my thing, because the last episode did end with a GRC being attacked, so that'll probably be the first thing, and then the next scene after they fix that's when Bucky goes to because I think the next scene has to start with the ending of what happened next, where the lights turned off, they had everyone captured, and Sam made a phone call. So I think that's what's I'm gonna change what it starts with, but I still believe that it's early on in the episode, that like this is the action sequence, like this whole GRC in the beginning, then it'll be a lull moment, and then it'll be the finale, the grand finale of it.
Yeah, they probably will start off with that, and then they'll transition into the title, and then as the title's fading off, then we're back at Nakajima's place, maybe.
What would be go ahead, Gritter?
And I was going to say, in addition to all that, another resolution for Sam could be that he meets up with his sister, and he gets a knock at the door, and it's, what's her name? It's Sharon saying, "Hey, guess what? I bought the bank." that didn't want to give it along, doing a call back to, when happening, I don't know, something like that. But I think the bank may get resolved as well.
You know what? I'll double down on that. I'm going to say, because he gets Sharon back free so she can come back to the States. Sharon's loaded, right? She's got however she made her money or whatever.
Yeah.
She might give the money to them to fix the boat. That'll be her, like, thanks for your help, like getting me back over here. Maybe, I don't know. It could be that. Yeah. It could be that Bruce Wayne moment for this for this section. I don't know, because it does, because she's loaded. How she's loaded, I don't know. Go ahead, Cubsy.
Let's go around the table and take some guesses. How long do we think this episode's gonna be?
An hour.
Roughly the same as last, if I had a guess.
What was the last one? 50 minutes? 55 minutes?
It was an hour total. It was an hour total runtime, including credits.
I'm gonna say the same thing for this episode.
Yeah, I'll say the same. About 52, 55 minutes, whatever it was.
So you don't think there's gonna be like an hour and 15 minutes?
Maybe 3-4 minutes extra, because they got a couple end credit scenes for us. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's it: 1, 2, or 3 end cutscenes.
2.
2.
2.
2.
2.
3. I think that would be a lot.
I'm gonna go with 3.
You can't. Well, what would the third one go after they do the international?
Who knows?
press?
I
They
don't
never-
care where it goes as long as they have 3.
they never-
You could run one back to back.
That's true. They could. Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna go with 3. They're gonna do one with Ross, one with the raft in some way, shape, or form, and
Spider-Man.
one with Fury. One with Fury.
Okay. With Captain America, with Captain
How could there be 3? Hey, these are speculations and what we want, human. I didn't say it had to be real. Okay, these are my dreams. This is my time here, down here. Yeah.
You know, human,
Dreams are going to come true.
you can start like saying those type of things if you come in and like talk to us. We have feelings.
Yeah. I can manifest it. I believe.
Yeah.
I believe that there's going to be 3. That's right. That's
wish
right.
upon that star.
That's right. I think there's going to be 3. Wouldn't it be funny if there is 3 and next week, human, I'm going to be like, I told you.
You know what? I'm going to wish really hard if we're going to get Mephisto. You watch and see.
Dr. Doom confirmed.
Oh man.
But going off topic a little bit. So, Wolverine, I have a question for you. So, the Bad Batch is coming up. Are you going to be covering this?
I'm not.
30 is probably going to take a backseat to it.
Yeah. I'm not.
I would be interested into it. I love Star Wars just as much as I love this kind of stuff. I think I can sometimes I look past all kinds of lousy things that actors probably, I want to say lousy. That's biased. I think I can look past things I necessarily don't agree with that actors or people that are in power say and or do, and I watch their content all the time. I watch their movies. I watch what they're a part of. I know that a lot of people have a lot of vindication in terms of dealing with the whole Gina Carano mess, and it is a mess. I think I don't agree with how she's been jettisoned and treated, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to stop me from watching Star Wars, going to Disney World, going to theme parks. It'd be hard for me to just stop cold turkey just like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean because I'm not watching it means I won't review it either. It might not just be something that's in my purview I want to review, but will I go in with an open mind as much as I can? Absolutely.
So it's still on the table, but not confirmed.
Yes, because Disney Plus has given us a wide range of things to cover within this year, both Marvel and Star Wars related. I think we'd be unwise to not have everything on the table.
Got it.
Yeah, if it's Star Wars, I won't be a part of it. I sometimes what you believe in, you have to stand alone, and so I'm taking a stand against Lucasfilm. I'm not taking a stand against Disney. I'm taking a stand against Lucasfilm. So I'm not covering anything that has to do with Star Wars as of right now, April 20th of 2021. It could change.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It could change, but I will not be covering anything Star Wars, which kills me because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
But if 30's into it, I want to cover Mortal Kombat next Monday.
Oh yeah, no, I'll watch it. I'll watch it and we can cover it.
That comes out
Yeah.
this week on HBO Max, and it's part of our running Mondays that we have with these really good HBO Max films. Well, I shouldn't say really good because Wonder Woman sucked, and King Kong was King Kong. But I have high hopes for Mortal Kombat. So if you're watching this now live or watching this later, be prepared for Monday. We're going to be talking and reviewing Mortal Kombat. Extremely eager to talk about this one.
Yeah. So Monday, Mortal Kombat. Tuesday, the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then what day does Loki start? Loki starts up.
I believe it got pushed
It's
back to
June,
July.
isn't it?
June. Yeah.
Oh, so we have a what? It got
no,
pushed back.
No, June.
Yeah. I could have sworn it was June 11th.
Wait, so there's nothing in my. There's nothing in May.
No,
That's why I was
because they
asking
put.
about
they
That's the
pushed
Bad
Black
Batch,
Widow.
huh?
Yeah, June 11th is Loki.
So the Bad Batch is being released in May. Then that's why that's in May.
Yep, that's why I asked.
Yeah. I mean, you're more than welcome if everybody wants to co-host with if Wolverine does it. You're more than welcome to take my spot.
My thing is, I never got into the anime. I know it's sacrilege because everyone's like, "Ooh, the animated stuff is the best," but I'm
Don't
more
feel
of the
bad, I
live.
didn't either.
I'm more of the live action Star Wars
Oh,
person.
Clone Wars is such
You know?
such a good
So-
series. Such a good series.
I couldn't. It just wasn't in my periph at all. I don't know. I tend to follow lead with Gritter, where I was more enticed by the live action stuff.
Do we even know how
Glad
many
you brought
episodes that
Ahsoka
is?
Tano. Go ahead.
I was just asking how many episodes.
I think it's 6 or
Yeah,
8, 6
I
or
think
8, something
they're
like that.
Probably going to go on that. Yeah, those round numbers that they like 6, 8.
Okay, it would be enough to cover it, but if it was like 20, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not that long. No.
I don't think it's going to be that long. I'm interested to see it. I'm gonna spend some time on it. Again, I don't know how much I'd be invested into it for the same reason as Gritta just said. I didn't really watch a lot of Clone Wars Rebels. I watched scenes from the show that I thought were probably really big, cool, and or interesting. One in particular when Maul fights Kenobi.
It looks like there's 14 episodes.
What?
Yeah, it's probably going to be somewhat similar.
It runs from May 4th till July 30th.
Yeah.
See, this is why I'm glad they brought Ahsoka Tano to live action. You know, because I'm like, okay, I'm glad that Filoni's bringing more and more of his animated characters, and like even with Bo-Katan, I hope I said it right this time, to live action, because it's like I love. Well, I don't watch the animated stuff, but like I said, but to me it feels more vindicated, like more. Okay, this is not just some imaginary, or I know it's not an Elseworld thing, the animated stuff, but it's supposed to be canon. But to me, it feels more canon. Where if you want to be serious about being canon, they'll make it live action. That's what I've always thought to myself. When they bring the characters and make them live action, that's when, to me, they're serious about this or that being canon. I feel they're doing that, and I just watched the Ahsoka series, and I think Bo-Katan may still have something. I don't know, but March. I'm sorry. May is going to be kind of dry for me because I'm not going to watch the animated stuff, and I don't know. Have you? Oh, I was going to ask quite quick. Have you gentlemen ever thought about covering Invincible? I have not watched a single episode, but I keep hearing good things about that.
My fiance keeps telling me about it.
Yeah, I hear great things about it, but I haven't watched it.
Don't even know what it is.
It's a superhero by the same people, the same guy who created the Walking Dead. He created a comic book series. It's old. It's actually like, I want to say it's like 10 years old or older than that. It's a comic book, and now they made it into a television series.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. And Loki is 6 episodes. 6 episodes, and it comes out June 11th and runs till July 16th. So that's that. Yeah. All right. That will do it. Appreciate Gritter and Krebsy for calling in. And again, we don't need just Krebsy and Gritter to call, or Gritter and Krebsy to call in every single week. Okay, you guys can call in, and I'm going to hold you to it, Human. If there's 3 cutscenes next week, I expect you to be a first call in. Okay, it's going to be a long shot, but I believe. If you guys have any questions or want to call in the show, you don't have to sit on the show like Krebsy and Gritter do. You can just come in, tell us your question, and then bail if you want right after. We are here. I don't know what we're gonna do. Me and Wilby are gonna have to talk about it because after next week's episode of the Falcon Winter Soldier's last episode, there is that gap going on. So we're gonna be needing to make content for this channel because we can't not have uploads or anything for the next couple weeks. That would just be that'd just be death to the channel. So we'll figure out something.
Other Marvel stuff. there could be other Marvel stuff on Disney Plus. Like
There's stuff down the pipeline. We got the What If series that's supposed to come out along. We have Black Widow, of course, which we will more than likely spend a good solid Monday for to review. So there's things in the pipeline. It's just we have to find ways to plug in the holes in the gap time.
Okay.
I could break down Shang-Chi and Loki's trailers.
We could. I just don't think we could probably turn that into something of a 2-hour episode, because we want to. And I know we're kind of breaking this down on the fly, but we want to stay consistent to contemporary stuff of what's going on. This channel has been basically, its inception was rewatching things from the past. We want to stay as contemporary as possible, because repeat theater can mean we're rewatching something that literally just came out yesterday. We want to stay as contemporary as possible to stay on top of the metrics as best as we can.
Well, this might not be good for metrics, but I know that we didn't complete the Marvel rewatch. We stopped at.
That's what I was about to mention.
I know. I don't think
Lono watched
it. I remind Creature of it all the time.
Which one do we stop at?
We only
Infinity War?
We still have three films technically. We have Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home to finish.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about that off air? Me and you, we'll discuss something about that.
Yeah, we could discuss it for sure.
Yeah.
But we're gonna definitely be needing to find things, in 30 and myself. We are committed to find things that will fill that gap before these next big major things hit the airways.
Yeah, it's just about time. Like, but both of us, Wolby's a new dad. Right, he's got his own channel. He's growing. He's got his own job that he does. I got this channel, my own channel, and my own. I have 2 other channels basically working on at the exact same time. So I'm doing 3 channels at the same time. So lots of stuff to do, and it's hard to find time to do it, review it, and then and post stuff like that. So
yep.
Review the thing. You will get so many views off The Thing.
The Thing.
John Carpenter's The Thing. I think it was a 1982 or 1984 film. Not the
Kurt Russell. You mean Kurt Russell's? Yeah. I love that movie. I'm a big Kurt Russell fan, just in general.
It's gone, McCready. What do you mean? It's
I just, it's like, you know how Lono treats the gaming channel, that if he goes back and plays something that even though he personally likes, it's probably not the best for the numbers. It's literally the exact same thing that we have to treat this channel with as well. Yeah, we got a lot of momentum when we did Wonder Woman 84, and we're trying to find that traction again, especially with these HBO movies. We're hoping on a good turnout for Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was a cult classic for a lot of people, especially people our age as well. We remember that old one, so there's a lot of anticipation for this version of it. The directors come out to say that this is the best, or one of the best martial art films of our generation. So that's a big thing to say. So they have a tall order to fulfill.
All right, go ahead.
Army of the Dead comes out May 14th. It's Dave Bautista. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
These are things that me and him are going to discuss in terms of where we think that would probably be best fit. Because we want to be interested as well. I'm not really interested in King Kong and Godzilla, but at the same time, it's a nerd fascination. Yeah. People love to talk about that stuff that we're talking about. Like typically people that are talking about comics, of course they're going to talk about 2 kaiju monsters killing each other.
Right. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 5. Join us next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll break down the final episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 6. We'll also do a chat and call in after that as well. Wolverine, where can they find you?
Wolverine_VZ on Twitter, and Crucible Coliseum on YouTube for my personal channel.
And you can find me over on the Purple platform, twitch.tv/30andstillgaming. You can follow me over on youtube.com/30andstillgaming. And we also do it here at Repeat Theater as well. So I got lots of stuff going on, lots of things. Come on by, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button on both our channels, on the Crucible Coliseum and also 30 and Still Gaming here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys all coming out. Thanks, Gritter. Thanks, Cribsy, for always calling in, and appreciate you guys.
It's a
Thank
pleasure as always, guys.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Take it easy.